Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the BRAYNE CAST. Jenny's not here today, but we have Mark instead, which is even better. Mark, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Shane, thanks for having me. Glad to be on the podcast. I've been in marketing and advertising consultant, business growth consulting, handling business growth for almost all of my career. So 25 plus years. I've worked on clients as large as Fortune 1 clients to very small regional local businesses. This is interesting, and you and I got connected because what I see in working with large Fortune 1000 clients and small clients is the small clients don't have the resources to compete as technology drives consumers into different places like AI,
Mm-hmm.
right? AI search, but then also AI tools that can help those small businesses compete. So that's me. That's my background, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Amazing. Sorry. What types of businesses do you usually work with? Like you said, large business. Could you give us some examples? I guess you don't have to name them specifically, but like some larger companies, maybe some
No,
smaller,
sure.
like electrical, plumbing, like what kind of businesses?
So clients that I work with now or have worked with, Adobe, Mercedes-Benz, L'Oreal, Chrysler, Bayer Corporation, Pharmaceutical. So those are clients where I'm able to get my hands into large organizations with lots of resources that are trying to reach more customers. And we have customers on the service side of the business, customers on the consumer goods side of the business. But then you look at the other end of that spectrum, what's known as the long tail, right? Local
Hmm.
businesses that are trying to battle day in and day out to win more customers and then service those customers once they get them, right? It's tough for a one or a two or a five or a 10-person shop. So I also work
Sure.
with local HVAC. I work with the many location, multi-location enterprises is what we call them in the consultancy, but many location businesses in the HVAC space, in the auto repair space, in the local fitness space, in the dental space. So these are all clients that I work with. But we also work with very small rooftops. And that's what's, I think, really exciting about where we are in the world today is they've always had to scrap it. They've always had to fight it out. But businesses that are heads up and thinking about where they can scale, the last time the world, the marketing world and the business world was as interesting was when Google came out, right? Prior to
Or
Google,
the
there was
internet.
Yellow Pages and Thomas Guide Maps before the internet, right?
Hmm.
So Google hits the market and people are out there selling you on, hey, you should build this thing called a website so people can find you online, right? That was the last real massive innovation that helped small businesses be found, other than being on the side of the road in a place that was high traffic.
And Mark, what do you think? What would you say most of your businesses that you deal with struggle with the most? Like, what's their main bottleneck?
Well, for the purposes of this podcast and what we've been talking about leading up to this, the let's talk about the small regional businesses, right?
Sure.
Those that don't have the large resources, but they're competing with them. And if we're talking about a local energy company, a solar company, an HVAC company, these businesses are competing with either national brands or private equity roll-ups that are picking the smaller companies up and aggregating resources to help them scale, all of which makes it more difficult for them to compete. More difficult for them to compete in getting new customers, but also more difficult for them to compete in servicing and supporting those customers. So the deluge of stuff that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis is where I'm most focused. Is how can I help them just pull their head up above water? My wife ran her own staging and design business for several years, and she loved it. She loved her clients. She loved working with them and getting in the trenches and solving those problems. She hated running the business, and it would never scale. And that's where we got in conversations. Like we're partners, right? We're she's my spouse, and I love her, and I don't want her to have to work 70 hours a week grinding it out every day. So, in looking at businesses like that, looking at HVAC businesses that are really good at getting in and helping a customer not have a cold house in the winter or a house that's too hot in the summer, right? A plumber
Hmm.
who's helping that family deal with a leak that broke out, their water heater that just blew, right? That's where I find a ton of potential, and I'm very, very passionate about this. So I'd love to dig into that and share with you what I'm seeing and hear, like, you're doing some really interesting stuff. Let's find the intersection between those things. So anybody who's watching this or listening to this can actually take some nuggets out of here and say, got it. That's a thing I can do tomorrow.
Yeah. So, in order to do that, first we got to
That
kind of
make sense?
dissect a little bit. Yeah, of course, but I want to dissect just a little bit, like where their specific operational problems may lie. You deal with them regularly. You see, okay, this guy is on the tools all day long. He can't answer his phone. So that would be an operational problem. Maybe he doesn't have the resources to hire a full-time secretary, and even if he does, how many calls is he missing overnight? Right. So I'm curious, what other like real bottlenecks do you see operationally for the?
You hit it square on the head, right? It all starts with, is my board full? Do I have enough meetings? Do I have enough consults to pay the bills and to make a little money at the end of it all? So the first thing is, do people know I exist? So if we were to stack this pyramid, do people know my business exists? And if so, do they know how to reach me? Do I solve a problem that they have? So I'm going to take each one of these, but if we look at that funnel, right, that it's a sales funnel, but it all trickles down to execution. If they know I exist, oh, I don't know if we're still recording, but it looks like we lost
Oh,
Shane.
sorry about that, Mark. I think we had a bit of technical difficulties.
No, no worries. I don't know where I lost you, but for those that are following along, we were talking about the places we can help the business. If we look at
Mhm.
the pyramid of their client experience, first it's help people know I exist and what I do, right? So that's marketing, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
how we can help there. Once they know I exist, do they know how to find me? Once they know how to find me, did they reach me and did I catch that opportunity? Because the window of capture is narrow, right? If I didn't get back to them in 5 minutes or 10 minutes and somebody's dealing with a water heater that blew, that's a
They're
lost
on.
opportunity. That's
Yeah,
lost
they're
money
on
in
to the
my pocket.
next.
So again, back to, is my board full? Right. So then once we've got them on the phone, let's talk about the operational bottlenecks that we might run into. Am I scheduling them efficiently? Right? Can they go in on their own and schedule? Can I have an AI agent? And this is really slick. Can I have an AI agent know my availability, know my capabilities, and just book that for a client who just needs a problem solved, right? Do they need,
Mhm.
if they know there's a human here, if they know I'm good at what I do, how can I let them know that and then get them to actually working with me? So did I get to them? And like, did I book the appointment? If I book the appointment, and this is where things get interesting. If I book the appointment, what do I need to do next? Right? Because if I'm a local operator and I've got a full wall, right? I got a full board of stuff that I need to do, and I'm meeting with people all day, or my team is meeting with people all day, like at the end of that day of doing real hard, meaningful work, like I'm in servicing a customer, I'm in doing consults. If I'm a gym, if I'm a therapist, if I'm a dentist, I'm doing my job of servicing those customers. Great. What about all the new stuff that came in that day? What about the follow-ups that I have? Oh, I just did a consult. I now need to order a new water heater. I need to order more. Got it. How do I keep that stuff from slipping through the cracks, right? You see where I'm going? It's
Yeah.
really all about, and that's when I reached out and we were talking about this. The opportunity here in the world. So I just came from a huge consumer electronic conference, CES. CES is an annual massive event every year that talks about consumer electronics and what's new in the marketplace. It's been a really cool event to go for the last few years. But what was different this year? The entire event, and we're talking about robots and self-driving cars, but we're also talking about agentic AI and solving problems. So for the first time ever, they had a separate convention hall as a part of CES for marketing and advertising. This is interesting because consumer technology, what does that have to do with marketing and advertising? And there's a point here. When we look at companies like NVIDIA, who are saying, we just want to help businesses solve problems. Like
Hmm.
NVIDIA doesn't sell to a mom and pop shop, but how can they enable, how can they empower that? And the entire theme of the show that I took away, there was lots going on. The entire theme of the show is the collapsing ecosystem. So you don't have to have a lot of endpoint partnerships. So you don't have to have 20 different tools in your tool stack, your tech stack. We can collapse that and condense that if we start to think about AI as a member of our team, not as a tool
Exactly.
in our tech stack, and build an interaction with this AI, right? And
Yeah.
then, like what we were talking about, and then you have to create specific agents in your stack, but now you've got an AI stack, but that AI should be seen like an employee. But as you said in some of your previous podcasts, that employee doesn't get sick. An employee doesn't get an attitude with a customer. An employee doesn't they don't go home at night. You don't have to worry about staffing them. They don't ask for a pay raise. What we do, and this is when we start thinking about the reality of working with AI as a member of our team, because there's clearly a need, a necessity for the human layer, for what we
Oh yeah.
do, for what our clients do. But if we think about them as an employee, we have to think about investing in them as we would invest in an employee. You bring a new admin to come into your business, right? You bring in a new electrician to your business. There's a fair amount of training you have to do to bring them up to speed. But
Oh
what
yeah.
do I want to train them
Four
on?
years
And
in
what can I train an
electrical.
AI on? Because AI learns.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I wanted to take just a little
Anyhow, so
step
those are some
backwards.
very specific places.
Sorry. I want to take a little step backwards and just tell you why I started all this because it ties into exactly what I came from the trades. So my idea, like I was a landscaper, a pool guy, and I would go to work all day, putting in pools, installing bricks, waterfall, doing all this stuff. And then I'd come home and I'd have to deal with all of the calls that I missed. And I'd call them all back, set up appointments, work all weekend, work all night, zero time with family. That's the life of a small business in reality in today's day and age. But because of what we built here with Brain AI, it doesn't necessarily have to be like that anymore. All the inbound traffic can be handled as it comes in. Appointments can be booked. Everything can be automated in that manner. Do you still need to go and do estimates? Yes. That the human touch is always going to be needed. Does AI close deals? No, I usually recommend not to have. Some of my customers want AI to close deals. My recommendation is 80/20. So always have a human finalizing your deals. Um, People are just not there yet with the comfort level of getting sent a Stripe link from an AI robot. Like it's not a comfort level yet, and people want to know that there is a human at the other end of this business. They don't want to just solely work for an AI. So I recommend an 80/20 stack as far as your admin work goes. I don't ever advocate for let's just fire everybody and use AI for everything. You still need that human element. You still obviously need the guys on the tools. You need the owner doing owner things, closing deals. But the whole middle ground is where AI is not only cheaper, more cost effective, but it's better. It's more efficient. It doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't go to the bathroom. It doesn't take a lunch break. So that's kind of the whole spiel there from where I came from to where we are now.
Yeah, Shane, you bring up 2 points that I think we should dig into here. To your specific experience, we should speak about you do the hard work all day and
Hmm.
then you come home to follow up on calls, right? So,
Hmm.
as a human who's tired, dirty, sore, like a little bit burned out, now you got to get into the work of interacting with humans again when you're already wanting to spend time with your family. So, it's not like really, it's not your best self. It's
No,
trying to interact with that customer who really wants to trust somebody, really wants to get to know somebody, right? When I think about entrepreneurs, small business owner operators in the US, in Europe, abroad, the reason we go into small business is the promise of independence, right? Is the promise of some freedom, some financial freedom, some freedom from working for somebody else. But what you just laid out isn't freedom,
no.
right? Grinding it out 7 days a week, being on call all the time. Where I think there's possibility, the promise of AI for that freedom is helping you be really good at what you're really good at. right? You talk about coming from the trades. And this is where, like mentioned CES and all the stuff that I think about. You know where I think AI is going to have a really hard time disrupting is when somebody's sink is leaking, right? You
Yeah.
can call it AI, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to get a human come out there who knows what they're doing, who knows how to
Yeah.
handle frozen pipes or solar, right? So you hit it on the head. There's two bits. The other bit is when we talk about the competition for that pool guy, that landscaper, like the roll ups, the private equity backed roll ups are empowering them with the things that make it difficult that you have to do after hours, that you have to do on the weekend. And we didn't talk about this, but let's talk about the things that you don't want to do anyway, that my wife Andrea didn't want to do anyway. She didn't want to deal with billing. She didn't want to deal with payroll. She didn't want to deal with the hard, like accounting and all of these things. So imagine if you had somebody that you hired. Let's take this in a real world situation. You hired an entry level student out of high school, out of college, and you're like, hey, listen, I just need somebody to take all my calls, to tell me what I missed, to outline for me the things that are most important for me to follow up today so I can go deal with this customer because they trust me. So I got to go
Uh-huh.
do the work. But when I get done, I don't want to have to think about what I've got to do. Can you just make it easy for me? Like, just tee it up. And that's the potential. So it starts with, you're right, it starts with the first thing most entrepreneurs and small businesses need is I need more business and I need to close more of that business. Got it. Awesome. Let's stack that up and make it easy for you. So
Yep.
this is the potential, right? It's how do I, as a 3-person shop, compete with that private equity roll up? Maybe even make myself valuable enough to be acquired by a private equity roll up. I tell you how. Process.
Process.
Operational
Exactly.
process that drives growth. And that's what we're here talking about.
Yep. And I want to throw a little bit of a curveball at you, something new that we've come up with that I haven't told you about yet. But we now have the ability to take a photograph of, for instance, we're doing it right now for real estate. We can take a photograph of our real estate guy, a 30-second recording of his voice, and make a full AI branded video promoting whichever properties he has for sale right now, and we can do it. So I was talking to my one of my real estate guys that works with me, Jake, and he's telling me he literally spends 2.5 hours every day scripting, shooting, and then posting content on the internet. And that got me thinking, what, 2.5 hours? That's like what, 70, 80 hours a week or a month, sorry. That's a long time. So that got me, I immediately went in and started doing my research like I do, and I found some tools, and I went back to him and I'm like, look, Jake, I could solve this problem for you right now. We'll do the first few for you for free to get it kicked off, and you let me know what you think, and we're working on them right now. So that's the next big thing is content creation, and if you can save, what AI can do here in this particular thing is we can save you time. And time is more valuable than money because you can always make more money. You can never get more time. So if you have a young family and you're spending 2 hours a day, 2.5 hours a day, like most real estate brokerages and agents are, if they're growing, if you're spending that much time and I can give it back to you for a fraction of an hourly wage, like maybe $25 an hour if you work it all out, then it's a no-brainer for most of these guys to say, yeah, I'd rather have more time with my family. I'd rather have that time back to close more deals or to work on other processes in my business. So that's the next step.
Yeah, Shane, it's awesome. I've seen some of that in the market and I've seen folks using it and it's really slick. But you talk about giving time back. There's so I think that's table stakes. I think giving people time back to do things with their family is good, but then what? And this is what you're onto. Like, great. Next week, so I made myself a little bit more efficient. But what are we as humans going to do? We're going to make ourselves busy with that extra time, right? We're going to get
Mhm.
busy again. Because that's just in our human nature. What you're talking about is the opportunity to get better at what we do so we can level ourselves up, right? So I'm not going to be doing the same thing in 10 years from now or in 15. I'm not going to be grinding it out, trying to install pools and do landscape architecture or do like, we want to grow, right? We want to get better at what we do. So what you're
Mhm.
onto is interesting. If I'm spending my time producing videos, if I'm spending my time trying to keep track of all the operational stuff in my business, I'm not able to think strategically about how to make my business grow. I'm not able to think strategically about, I don't know, partnerships, new service lines that I want to offer, new pricing and promotions, right? These are things that AI won't do for you.
Mhm.
But if you get the AI to do the things that are basic tasks, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about swapping one thing for another. We're talking about swapping
Yep.
something that you don't really want to do that'll make your business stable and replacing it with your ability to be strategic and creative to grow your business. We're on to something, Shane, really important here. And in the this year, 2026, is going to be a defining year for small businesses. And you're going to see a ton of small businesses that just don't make it because they don't know how to compete because the tidal wave is like what you're talking about. The tidal wave of stuff that's coming at them. Some of these really smart, savvy operators are going to experiment and they're going to try. Like you, they're going to be innovators and they're going to embrace them. But the more stuff that comes at them, the more confusing and difficult it is for them to do their day job, which then starts this spiral. What you guys have done, what I love, is you put it all together like, let's treat this as a stack. If you had
Mhm.
an, like, let's understand your problem and then let's come together and aggregate some of these services so we can do your lead recapture, so we can handle those inbound calls, so we can help you with scheduling, so we can help you with content, so you don't have to have 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 different agents working with different partners. Because with those partners, with different vendors, you get different subscriptions and different costs and different, some work, some don't work. But if you've got a consultative partner who sits down with you and says, got it, what's your goal? More money, more time with your family, more inspiration for growth of your business. Okay, great. We're going to help you by implementing these different agents so that you can grow your business. And you
Exactly.
maybe you pull away some in a couple of months. Maybe you add in some new features like the new
Yep.
content creation. But the goal is to help you find growth without killing yourself and giving yourself more time and more knowledge for your future growth. I
And
mean,
our
that's how I'm seeing it. Do you see it the same way?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of branding myself on we are your partner. So you come to me with any problem that you have within your operations, and I'll figure out a way to utilize the technology we have available to solve the problem. Even if it's not in my stack at the moment, I will figure it out and I will help you. And that's what we do for all of our partners because like I said, this wasn't really part of our stack. Like you and I have been talking for weeks now, and this is the first time it's come up because this was a conversation I had 3 days ago. By tomorrow, we'll have produced the first three videos because we move with extreme speed in this company and we don't mess around. So my customer had a problem. I'm going to solve that problem, and then I'm going to utilize the way that I solved that problem to solve the same problem for hundreds of other customers because it's just another door to open, you know. And the best part about
Shane,
these
I'd love to
agents
flip it around
is,
and love to ask you some.
sorry. So not only do we make
No, yeah, go ahead.
the content itself, but we have a social media agent that posts it across all socials. So now you're getting posted at whichever time is most appropriate for your brand in your region. Not only that, but if someone likes or comments it, the same agent, the AI agent that posts it, will automatically DM them and engage them with a conversation and try to book them for an appointment, which will go to the next agent who will secure that lead, and then you'll get a text message or an email to meet with that lead at a specific time, and you've never had to do one thing to get that. It's just all automated for you.
Yeah, Shane. Again, I'd like to flip it around and ask you some questions because you're a perfect example of the clients that we want to work with, right?
Yeah.
You came from the services space, from the trades, right? And you realize that's hard work. I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I need some brain space to be able to innovate. And look at you. Look at what you're doing now. But what you've done is you continue to innovate and you continue to innovate. So the reason that's interesting is because the customers who need your help the most are ones who need somebody to understand their business. There are tons of AI tools out there. There are AI tools that you can go and you can sign up without ever talking to anybody. In fact, most of them are that way.
Mhm.
But you're coming from a point of view that says we're people first. We're going to get on the phone and we're going to talk to you about what your needs are because we've been there. Because we know how hard it is to schedule a call. Because we know what it takes to have to fulfill that order. We know what it takes to have to find a new partner, to have to increase our inventory, or to have to follow up on the order, right? We know those things so that when we train an agent to do it in an authentic way, we've all been like this last year was interesting. We've all interacted with agents and we're like, oh, I get AI is not there yet, but that was a toddler move, right? It's a
Yeah.
toddler move because the person who trained that AI didn't understand the business. So full
Exactly.
stop. That's what makes you different. And that's what was inspiring with me. When I looked at this, I was like, oh, got it. If we've got an electrician or the solar client that you were telling me about, and they've got problems, I'd be an idiot if I rolled in there and I'm like, oh, trust me, I know your business. Just plug in this AI. No.
Yeah.
But if you sit down and you're
No,
like, okay, let's talk
you gotta
about where you're
gotta
at,
do a
right?
full investigation. You gotta have a full conversation with the owner, sometimes with their administrative staff, with their team, because sometimes even the owner, you can have a conversation with the owner and he thinks the problem is this. Then you have a conversation with the administrator and he thinks the problem is this. Then you have a conversation with the foreman and he thinks the problem is this. So you got to be able to put all those conversations together in order to create harmony for the whole business. And that's where we like to come in. We
Yeah,
like
Shane,
to
and,
do a
and the
full
position,
investigation.
yeah. Well, and the cool position you're in, and some of the things that you've shared with me is maybe that's three different problems. Like overall, the problem is business sustainability and business growth, but you're talking about three different points of view, and those are three things that need to be solved. Like
Yep.
to every to a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right? If I've got a single point solution and I'm trying to ram it into your business, then I'm not going to listen for those things. But if I know your business and I've got a toolkit, then I need to listen for great. What do we want to tackle first? If in business a year ago, that would have been different employees. Or we would have tried to find a Swiss Army knife employee and we're like, oh, great, I can plug you in and I can ask you to do all these things. And we're going to burn them out. And we're going to ask ourselves a year from now, why didn't it work? Right? But coming from the point of view of understanding their business, understanding their situation, right? And then understanding of the solutions available in the marketplace. Now we're talking about a perfect intersection. Yeah?
Exactly. Yep. I'm with you on that one. That's where we are.
Cool.
And I think that's also what
So
makes us interesting partners because you get it and I get it. So it creates the right kind of chemistry for us to work together, you know? Not everybody is a perfect fit.
I do.
I actually don't take on every client that comes to me. Some clients are just not in the right position. They don't have the right things in place yet. Like we just took on a big client from Sweden who is still operating on Google Sheets. So I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't really offer you AI right now. But what we can do is, first of all, start with a CRM and a new website with a chat agent and get everything organized in one base. Once we do that, then we can take the next step. So it's not the same. We're not the same as every other company out there. Just like you can buy a Ford or you can buy a Lamborghini, you can go and buy different AI tools and plug them into your business, and they might be effective. But we are a partner that comes in and we strategically help you manage the business so that you get time back and make more money. And if I can't give that to you, then I'm not just gonna take your money.
Shane, we're God, I can't believe how much time we've just gone through. This has flown by. But I do want to ask you, in this seat that you're sitting, how are the conversations going with these business principals, these owner operators? When you sit down and you're like, "Hey, listen, I want to talk to you about technology. I want to help you grow your business with this thing. Uh, Maybe there's some stuff here that we can help offset from your human labor." How's that conversation going? Are you getting pushback? What are some of the objections you face? And then where are the light bulb moments where they're like, "Oh, I get it."
So we do get pushbacks, quite a bit actually. With the phone agent, we get a lot of pushback of, oh no, I have my receptionist. She's been with me for years. Okay, and what I do is say that's fine. That's no problem. I understand that. But why not have the agent take after hours calls or when she's on break? And then they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And just stuff like that, there's or oh, we really prefer the human element. We brand our business on that. And to people that say stuff like that, I don't really try to push on that. If that's your direction and that's the way you want to run your business, then I'm not here to force AI on you. I'm here to work with the people who want to work with me. And there, in the last 3 months alone, there are a significant amount of those people that I don't really necessarily have to chase anymore. I remember when I started, I was doing a lot of cold DMs, a lot of cold outreach, and trying to ram my products down maybe the wrong customer's throats, so to speak, and taking on clients that maybe weren't a good fit for me. And lessons learned. I learned my lessons the hard way, unfortunately. That's how I've always learned, but now we kind of are a little bit more strategic about who we take on, and we do a little bit more homework to make sure that number one, it's going to be profitable for them. That's got to be the main focus. Everybody's out here trying to sell you their fancy AI N8N tools that they're building, and they're showing you all these different agents going from here to there to there. Business owners could care less. They want to see what you're going to give them, how much time you're going to give them back, how much money you're going to save them, and how much money you're going to make them. That's what they care about. They could care less about the tools. They don't care about our stack. They want to know how does this help me? How does this benefit me? And that's where we had to kind of learn.
So, Shane, you mentioned you get pushback, the phone agent, I've got a receptionist. Great. What about on breaks? What about after hours? Have you seen light bulb moments with those owner operators where the calls that the agent handled after hours actually went well and they now see
Yes.
it as an effective complement to their human service? Is that what's
Every,
happening?
every single person that is using the after hours agent is booking calls through the after hours agent. We have dentist office, doctor's offices, tradesmen, real estate. It's just like people work shift work. Some people get off work at 11 p.m. So the fact that your business is taking calls at 11 p.m. when nobody else is, guess who's getting that customer? You can then brand your business on 24/7 service. Then you can advertise. Call me anytime, any day. It doesn't matter. You will get an answer and you will get your appointment booked. It's just endless the possibilities once you become a 24/7 company, and you can take all those calls, take all those inbound leads, even an email. We automate the emails as well. So if someone sends you an email, oh, I'm looking to book, our agent can receive the email, check the calendar, email back immediately with an appointment or an SMS. And they all work together. And then when the email agent books, if the phone number is on file, we can send an SMS reminder to make sure, like that nobody's missing their appointments. And it works for every business, real estate, trades. doctors, dentists. Nobody wants their time wasted. So if someone books an appointment, just having a simple system that messages the customer and reminds them, hey, you have an appointment coming up in 4 hours. Hey, you have an appointment in 1 hour. Whatever the customer thinks is appropriate, that is effective in people not missing the appointments. And a missed appointment is lost money for the client.
So a couple additional questions, and then you can cut me off whenever we're up to time here. What what recommendation would you make? So I'll back up a little bit. Again, the fact that you're focused on the local and regional service business, the trades, the folks who need the help the most. Like for me, that's inspiring. It's where I'm spending my time. Like I've had a successful career. I'm excited about it. I'm at a point in my life where I want to work with people that I like working with, right? And this is just my philosophy. I want to make good money at it, and I want to do something that I enjoy. Got it. So I'm here. It's what brought me to you. But doing that, where I think I can help the most is take this experience and bring it down to regional and local service-based businesses to help them succeed. So my question to you on that thread is, what advice do you give that business owner, that business operator who was in your position when you were like before you made the decision to move? What one step can they take following this podcast to say, all right, got it. You're not alone. Try this. What do you recommend?
The phone agent, 100%. Just not missing these calls and having it booked in booking, especially for trades. An average electrical or plumbing job could be worth $5,000. And when I'm calling a plumber and electrician, if they don't answer, I'm going to the next one on Google until someone answers. So that is extremely valuable, and it's a very small investment to get them started. And then once they book one or two jobs from that phone agent, they understand, okay, this works. What else can I do? And that's when we start getting into more advanced. And we often do like a package deal where we'll give you a number of different things. The review agent is huge for the trades. Every time you do a job, when was the last time an owner had time to follow up with a customer and get them to make a review? They don't have that kind of time. The review agent never forgets. It always follows up. And if that customer had less than a 5-star experience, the review agent then contacts the business and says, hey, we have a 4-star rating here because of this. Can we do something to fix that? And it gives the business an opportunity to turn a 2 or 3-star into a 5-star by making a simple whatever addition, something.
Huh. Interesting. You answered the question, which was here, plug in this widget, which is a phone agent. But what I heard you really say was, here's where we can streamline your business. Like I was thinking as you were saying that about what a current state human phone answer solution would look like, right? And the ways that breaks down in today's reality. That person's having a bad day. That person doesn't have the right point of view. That person doesn't understand what the customer on the other side is really trying to get at because of what's going on in their world. They missed it because they were after hours. So thinking about all these things, but then you
One
continue
more
to go down
thing,
the path
sorry
and
to
say, well,
interrupt
start
you,
here so
Mark,
you
but
capture
that
what you got.
what if
Yeah,
the customer
go.
speaks French or Spanish or Hindi? Our agents speak every language. Sorry, I didn't mean to
It's
interrupt you.
and again, this is why no, this is Shane, this is why we're having this conversation, and it's exciting because this is why your experience in the local trades matter, right?
Hmm.
Because I tell you what I see all the time. I see business owners gun shy of adopting new technology because they've been burned by new technology in the past. And they haven't been burned exclusively because the tech didn't work. They've been burned because they didn't know how to adopt it. They've been burned because they didn't know how to integrate it into their business practice, right? But what you just said, when I asked the question, you said phone agent, but then really what you said was unpacking all the ways that it's going to help their business. That's your value. That's your value because you're going to continue to add more AI agents. You're going to continue to add more widgets and plug-in functions. But at the end of the day, you and those that you employ are going to ask that question, and you're going to have instincts about, got it. What the goal is again? The goal is to grow your business, more time, more money. Oh, I got it. I got it. That's
And
impressive.
and they're able to start small. So like I said, if you start with one thing and then wait until that generates you some revenue, put that revenue back in, boom, then you grow, grow, grow.
That's it. And you can put your finger on that, right? You can put your
Yep.
finger on it and say, we made this change. Here's where we started to see a shift in our business. Here's a recommendation that I would make for you, because there's some savvy business owners out there that are in the trenches doing it, and they're looking at data and they're looking at math. What they're not looking at is at what moment did my life start to change? Like, you can
Hmm.
show them at what moment their money started to change. You can show
Hmm.
them at what moment their operations started to change. But what you're talking about is, at what moment did your life start to change? Like, at what moment did your life become less stressful? At what moment did the things you put in place start shifting the trajectory towards more time with your family? Like,
Yeah.
more value for your business so you can exit to a private equity. Like,
Yeah.
that's on
Exactly.
point.
Yes, sir. All right. Well,
So I did a lot of the talking here, man. I hope it was helpful.
oh, it was. It was great, Mark. It was great having you on. Maybe we might have to do it again because I think we only scratched the surface. But yeah, it was
You know,
really great
what I'd
having
love,
you. And
I, I'd be happy to
yeah,
I'd be happy to join again, Shane. What I'd love is if we reached out to your audience, if we reached out to clients and we said, hey, listen, we do a podcast. I'd love to hear what problems you're facing in the market, and let's actually respond real time. I'll do the same thing, and I'll start to ask some of my clients, all right, what are the challenges that you're facing? And let's put our finger, instead of, this was a great conversation and you've got such real relevant experience, but let's put our
yep.
finger on some of the pain that people are having in the market today, right now. Like, how's
Yeah,
AI disrupting your
let's get
marketplace?
out
Is
there
it
and ask some
increasing more
questions
competition?
for
Is it
sure.
making it? Yes.
All right.
Yeah, maybe
Well,
even a survey. I'd love to do that. And then we can come back and tackle some of those things.
that's a great idea. I think we should definitely do that. Well, I think we'll try to wrap it up here because we're getting a little long. But I really appreciate your time, Mark. And I know we'll be talking probably after this show anyway. But enjoy the rest of your weekend and what's left of it anyway. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for joining the Braincast.